You know the feeling, right? You've had a perfectly good dinner, you're settling in for the night, and then bam, it hits you. This deep, real hunger that just will not go away. It's so frustrating. It can totally throw off your health goals, and it feels like this constant battle of willpower that you just keep losing. But what if it's not about willpower at all? Let's get into the science of what's really happening with that late-night hunger.
I mean, this comment from a user on Reddit just nails it. It's not just, feeling a little peckish. They describe it as real hunger, the kind that literally keeps you awake at night. And this isn't just one person's problem. It is such a shared struggle. And today, we are going to unpack the science behind it.
So, what is actually driving this nightly fight with the fridge? Is it just a lack of discipline? Or are there some deeper biological forces at work here that are pretty much stacking the deck against us? Well, it turns out the answer is this fascinating mix of our ancient biology and our very modern habits. So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to define this late-night hunger cycle. Then, we'll dive into your body's internal master clock. We'll see why when you eat is just so important, look at the hormones that are basically getting hijacked, and then, most importantly, lay out a clear plan for how to break this cycle for good.
All right, first things first. We need to reframe this whole issue. This is not just a simple case of the munchies. Nope. What we're talking about is a recurring pattern, a feedback loop, where one bad habit feeds directly into the next.
And this is the heart of it, what the NHS actually calls a vicious circle. Eating late at night can seriously mess with your sleep, and then that lack of good sleep chemically primes your brain to crave more food, especially late at night. You see? You end up totally trapped in this cycle that is almost impossible to break with willpower alone. So, to really understand this cycle, we need to meet the conductor of your body's entire orchestra, your internal master clock. This is the biological process that's calling the shots for almost everything your body does, and that definitely includes hunger. This master clock has a name, the circadian rhythm. Just think of it like a 24-hour operating system for your body. It's what tells you when to be awake, when to feel sleepy, when to repair cells, and, you guessed it, when to feel hungry. It is an incredibly powerful, ancient system.
Okay, now here is a wild piece of information from research published in the journal Obesity. It turns out our circadian rhythm isn't neutral. It is actually hardwired to ramp up our hunger in the evening. And not just any hunger, cravings for sweet, starchy, and salty foods. Now, this probably helped our ancestors store up energy to survive the night. But in our world of 24/7 food access, it's a recipe for disaster.
So if our internal clock is changing how hungry we feel all day, it makes sense that our body also processes food differently depending on the time of day. And this brings us to a super important point. It's not just about what you eat, it's about when you eat it.
I mean, just look at this comparison. Researchers at Johns Hopkins had people eat the exact same meal, but on different days, once at 6 p.m. and again at 10 p.m. The results were, well, they were stunning. The late dinner caused an 18% higher blood sugar spike. It led to a 10% reduction in how much fat they burned overnight. And it even bumped up their stress hormone, cortisol, by 5%. Same food, folks, but a completely different result for your body.
And what you eat plays a huge part too, especially early in the day. A study from Purdue University found that if you want to feel full and satisfied all day long, protein is your best friend at breakfast. Eating a high-protein breakfast gives you a much more sustained feeling of fullness than if you had that same protein at lunch or dinner. You're basically front-loading your satiety to fight off those evening cravings before they even get a chance to start.
Okay, so now let's get into the nitty-gritty of how your body controls all this. It all comes down to a couple of key hormones that act like a gas pedal and a brake for your appetite. And, as you'll see, when we don't sleep well, this whole system gets completely hijacked.
So let's meet your hunger hormones. On one side, you've got ghrelin. That's the go hormone. It screams at your brain, "Hey, I'm hungry. Eat something." On the other side, you have leptin. That's the stop hormone. It tells your brain, "All right, we're full. You can stop now." When you're well rested, these two work together in perfect harmony. But when you're sleep deprived, that beautiful balance is completely shattered. Your body starts pumping out more of the go hormone, ghrelin, which makes you feel way hungrier than you should be. And at the exact same time, it produces less of the stop hormone, leptin. So you never quite get that signal that you're full. The bottom line is simple. A bad night's sleep literally rewires your brain to overeat the next day. And if that wasn't enough to deal with, our modern lives throw another wrench in the works.
Research from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine has found that all that blue light from our phones, TVs, and computers at night doesn't just mess with our sleep. It can actually send signals to your brain that increase hunger and even make it harder for your body to process sugar, increasing the risk of insulin resistance. It's a double whammy.
Okay, so we're fighting a vicious cycle that's driven by our internal clock and hijacked by our hormones. It sounds pretty daunting, I know, but the good news is the science also gives us a really clear toolkit to fight back. It is all about resyncing your body's clock.
And the fix starts the moment you wake up. Remember that chart? A protein-rich breakfast sets you up for success all day long. Getting some sunlight first thing in the morning is like hitting the reset button on your circadian rhythm. And planning your meals ahead helps you avoid those wild blood sugar swings that can trigger that ravenous hunger later in the day.
And check out how cool this is. Your food choices can directly help you sleep better. A lot of protein-rich foods contain an amino acid called tryptophan. Your brain takes that tryptophan and uses it to make serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter that helps you feel calm and happy. Then, as it gets dark, your brain converts that serotonin into melatonin, the actual hormone that makes you feel sleepy. So better food choices lead to better sleep, which is the key to breaking the whole cycle.
And finally, your evening routine is your last line of defense. A consistent, relaxing wind-down signals to your body that it's time for sleep. Ditching the screens helps you avoid that blue light that can spike your hunger. And here's a great tip from the NHS. If you find yourself wide awake in bed, don't just lie there staring at the clock. Get up for a few minutes and do something relaxing. You have to protect your sleep, because when you protect your sleep, you protect yourself from that hormone hijack.
So in the end, it really all comes down to this one question. That late-night hunger, it isn't a moral failing or a lack of willpower. It's just a sign that your system is out of sync. By understanding your body's natural rhythms, that master clock, you can stop fighting against your own biology and actually start working with it. The choice isn't really about willpower, it's about timing.